negotiations with the UFC about this White House thing as well.
Essa é a melhor aposta?
Não, queria super luta.
No, I want a super fight.
Oh, super fight at heavyweight.
I can think of one
Wow,
name.
Derek
I would,
Lewis. It's Aspinall, man.
Bom, não sei se pô, Casa Branca, Jon Jones.
Jon
Seria uma
Jones.
super luta.
At the White House.
Jon Jones. That's
okay.
a super fight.
All right, so he's
Alex Pereira is no longer the light heavyweight champion. And I can tell you right here and now that there have been some talks of him fighting Jon Jones on the White House card. Jon Jones on the White House card is not dead. Now, the only thing bigger than becoming a 3-division champion is being the first guy to beat Jon Jones.
Well, let's talk about it. He would technically become, if he beats Gane for the interim title, he would become the first 3-division champion in the UFC. Now, again, in all likelihood, what this means is that it would be for the light heavyweight title, yes, or excuse me. Now, in all likelihood, what this means is it would be for the heavyweight title, yes, but the interim one. As I mentioned, asterisks all over the place.
Alex Pereira has vacated his light heavyweight title, and he is now one more step closer to making history by becoming the first UFC fighter to become champion in 3 different weight classes.
Light heavyweight champion Yuri Prochazka will be facing the number 3 ranked Carlos Ulberg for the vacant, undisputed UFC light heavyweight championship. Bear with me. Miami, April 11th. Number 4 ranked heavyweight Curtis Blades is going to take on Josh Hokett. Dominic Reyes versus Johnny Walker. Paulo Costa's moving up to 205 pounds and is fighting undefeated number 6 ranked Mirzakhanov. That's a bad fight. Kevin Holland taking on Randy Brown. Vincent Luque will be taking on Kevin Gastelum. Beneil Dariush will take on Manuel Torres. Gamrot is going to take on Esteban Ribovics. And last but not least, Patricio Pitbull is back, and he will take on Aaron Pico. That is a violent, crazy fight.
Jon Jones reveals he's actively negotiating with the UFC for a potential fight on the White House card, making it clear the comeback talk isn't just speculation. Jones says representing his country on that kind of stage means a lot to him, and the opportunity fuels his motivation to compete again.
I'm in negotiations with the UFC about this White House thing as well. Proud American and like
Jon Jones calls Alex Pereira the perfect star for a White House fight, praising him as a household name in MMA and beyond. He highlights Alex's respectfulness and championship pedigree, framing the matchup as a global blockbuster that would draw massive attention and revenue. For Jones, the card wouldn't feel complete without a fight of this magnitude, featuring 2 elite, respectful competitors and one of the greatest American fighters ever.
It would be a blockbuster event. I think the whole world would come out.
It's a big card you keep talking about that you want to be on, a White House card, right?
Yeah, dude.
Who do you want for that? You want Pereira?
I'd like to fight Alex Pereira at the White House. I feel like he's incredibly respectful. I feel like he's a household name in America and MMA. Everybody knows who he is. He's a champion. He's in the conversation of being one of the greatest fighters of all time. It would be a blockbuster event. I think the whole world would come out. I've beat many Brazilians over the course of my life. Either way that fight were to go, no one loses in that fight. It generates so many millions for the sport. There's just no losing when you have such high level people competing who respect each other.
When you talk about the White House and having the greatest American fighter of all time, I mean, how can you have a White House card without literally the GOAT? The GOAT.
Joe Rogan also wants Jon Jones and Alex Pereira to headline the UFC White House card in 2026, calling it a once-in-a-generation clash. He praises Jones as the greatest fighter of all time and highlights Pereira as possibly the most dangerous striker in MMA, describing their matchup as truly one of a kind and the biggest event the sport could offer.
If Jon really thinks he's going to fight Alex Pereira, he's getting ready.
Yeah.
He's at least getting ready in his mind.
Would it be Alex, or do you think it would be
Alex.
really?
Yeah,
So the Tom ship has sailed.
No, it hasn't sailed, but the big money fight is Alex and Jon Jones at the White House.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Catch weight. Make it 225 fight. You don't have to be for a title. Make it the bad upper edition. The Jon Jones Alex Pereira fight will probably be the biggest fight in human history.
I mean, that
in
at
MMA,
the White House?
In MMA, but as a matchup, You got the greatest of all time in Jon Jones, and arguably the most destructive striker.
Dana White confirms that a Jon Jones versus Alex Pereira fight could become a reality, noting that Joe Rogan has been pushing for it. He praises Jones as the greatest combat athlete ever, highlighting his fierce competitiveness and a dangerous edge that sets him apart from everyone else.
Will we ever see Jon Jones versus Alex Pereira? Possibility. I mean, Rogan is pushing me right now to try to make that fight. It's just, guys, Jon Jones is a whole nother. I consider Jon Jones the greatest combat fighter of all time. Jon Jones is the nastiest dude ever in the history. And Jon's got a dark side to him, man. He shoots guns. Jon Jones is a killer.
On the other hand, Daniel Cormier believes Pereira is chasing something bigger than just another win. Cormier explains that a move to heavyweight to face Jon Jones would be about making a defining statement. According to Daniel Cormier, beating a former champion who is considered by many to be the greatest ever would put Alex in an elite category and elevate him above nearly everyone in MMA history. Daniel Cormier said, "Alex is 38 years old. You're probably thinking at this point, how does he go and make another statement that he's the guy? He went to meet Jon Jones at heavyweight. Al would have literally cemented himself, almost standing above everyone, because he would have beaten a former UFC light heavyweight and heavyweight champion, the guy many consider the greatest fighter of all time." As the news breaks about the belt being vacated, Michael Bisping doesn't sound shocked, he sounds understanding. Bisping makes it clear that at this point, Pereira's resume already speaks for itself. Alex conquers multiple divisions, captures world titles, and defeats elite competition in emphatic fashion. So in Michael's view, there isn't much left to prove. While some believe he could stay and take on the next contender, Bisping suggests the reward no longer matches the risk. He does admit a fight with Olberg brings intrigue, but ultimately feels Pereira steps away with his legacy secure.
And that's what he's done. He's moved on, he has vacated the belt. And first and foremost, before we go any further, I kind of get it. He is 38 years old and he's done it, right? He was a kickboxing champion. He was the middleweight champion. He's the light heavyweight champion. And when you look at the people that he beat and the style in which he beat them, okay, he's got nothing else to do. Yes, okay. Like Jon Jones, he could have stayed around for a long time and took out all the contenders. And he's done that pretty much barring Carlos Ulberg, right? Who is on an 8-fight win streak that does deserve a shot at Alex Pereira, and stylistically that would have been a tremendous fight. Ulberg's very tall, he's long, he's quick, he's fresh, he hasn't got overly too many miles on the clock, and he's a fantastic kickboxer. But he does not have the power that Alex Pereira has. That's the only difference there, but it would have been a good fight.
As the focus shifts to what comes next, Michael Bisping says Pereira is aiming for history, not just another defense. Bisping explains that Alex wants to become a 3-division champion and chase a fresh title. Tom Aspinall isn't a realistic option right now due to recovery, so Michael looks at other names. He mentions Cyril Gane as a possible matchup and even brings up Jon Jones, but notes that Jones maintains he's retired. For Bisping, the ambition is obvious. The path to it remains uncertain.
He's almost 38 years old. He wants fresh titles and he wants the opportunity at becoming the first and only 3-weight division champion, okay? Who's he going to be? Who's he going to fight? Is it going to be Tom Aspinall? That's a big no, because sadly Tom is still recovering from the eye pokes from Cyril Gane, okay? Still recovering from the procedures that he's went through, and there's no talk of any fight happening anytime soon. So is he going to be Alex Pereira versus Cyril Gane for the interim title? I don't know. Is it going to be Alex Pereira versus Jon Jones at the White House? Again, I don't know. Jon Jones says that he's retired, says that his hips are riddled in arthritis.
I have severe arthritis. And most people don't know that.
Meanwhile, Luke Thomas highlights just how historic Pereira's pursuit of a 3rd title would be. He calls it hugely impressive, noting that few fighters have hunted opponents with the same intensity. He emphasizes the impact Alex has had on MMA, from delivering blockbuster fights to elevating the division.
I'll just say this, winning 2 weight class titles and then winning a 3rd, even if it's the interim, first of all, would represent history. Second of all, would be hugely impressive. And let's just say it one more time. I don't know if I've seen a bigger, big game hunter in MMA than Poatan. It is truly remarkable what this guy is trying to do with MMA. And honestly, if you're the UFC, just think about the entertainment and the big nights that this guy has provided since he got here. Where would they be without him? And he doesn't have much time left either, but where would they be without this guy? He has been, you know, Savior's a little bit of I don't want to put a messianic complex into this kind of thing, but you just can't understate the importance of what something like this means. Tremendous contribution to the sport, tremendous contribution to the division, tremendous contribution to the fan base, and here he is again.
MMA Guru reacts to Pereira giving up the belt by saying it points towards a White House appearance at heavyweight, while Aspinall continues recovering, though he admits a surprise booking against Jon Jones would shake everything up. Guru believes the promotion could move forward with Pereira versus Gon in the meantime.
Alex Pereira has vacated his world championship and is obviously not moving down to middleweight. He's moving up to heavyweight to fight on the White House card against Tom Aspinall or Cyril Gane. And I'm assuming it's going to be Cyril Gane. They could surprise us out of nowhere and give us Alex Pereira versus Jon Jones on the White House card, but they said they wouldn't do that, okay? So what I could see them doing is, while Tom Aspinall heals up from his eye injury, they make Alex Pereira versus Cyril Gane for the maybe undisputed... Dude, this could be terrible! This could be terrible for my boy Tom Aspinall, and evil in Cyril Gane could be rewarded for his eye-poking ways.
Ariel Helwani also calls Pereira vacating the title massive news, noting that it opens the door for his long-awaited move to heavyweight. He highlights that UFC 327 got the matchup right, booking Yuri Prochazka against Carlos Ulberg for the vacant belt, highlighting that both fighters bring momentum and skill.
Relinquishing, he is vacating the title, Alex Pereira. That's massive. That's probably the biggest news of them all, because he has been talking about wanting to go up to heavyweight for quite some time. Now here's his chance. More on that in a moment. So they announced Yuri Prochazka versus Carlos Ulberg as the main event for UFC 327 for the vacant title. They got it right. That's the fight, 100%. Yes, Yuri has fought for the belt twice before, and he has not won those fights, but his last two fights were amazing, very exciting, big wins over the likes of Jamal Hill and Khalil Roundtree. He's supremely popular. He's the guy. And Ulberg has to be the guy. He's won 9 in a row. He's coming off that win over Dominic Reyes. Like, this was the fight to make.
Ariel Helwani admits that if Alex Pereira beats Jon Jones and follows it with a win against Aspinall, the GOAT conversation becomes much more compelling. He highlights that Pereira is on the verge of making true history in MMA.
Right. If he fights Jon Jones and beats him, and then goes and fights Tom and beats him, you have to start talking about him being the greatest ever.
He's the GOAT if he does that.
Period. There's like no discussion anymore.
No, there's no convo if he does that.
So it's right there.
Imagine?
He's got a 2-fight plan. And by the way, the money, I can't imagine what it's going to be. This guy was a few Magomed takedowns away on Saturday from, like, now us talking about him fighting, Mingyang Zhang next. You know what I mean? And now he has set himself up for 2 fights in 2026, potentially June and December, where he's on the verge of legit history.
Earlier, even before Alex moved up, Matt Brown disagreed with the idea of a fight between Jon Jones and Alex Pereira, as he saw this matchup heavily tilted in Jones's favor. He suggests Jones should face Tom Aspinall instead, arguing that Pereira wouldn't pose a serious challenge. While the matchup would generate huge hype, Brown believes Jones's wrestling, size, and skill would control the fight even after a long layoff.
Competitive fight? Or do we just want Jon Jones back for a big fight? Because those are two different things.
That's exactly my point, right? I want the competitive fight. I think hardcore fans, but that goes exactly right into what I was saying, right? Do we want entertainment? Because what Alex and Jon is going to do is have a ridiculous build-up, right? Like, where everybody's going to be pumped. There's going to be people betting on Alex. There's going to be people, just like Conor going and fighting Floyd, right? There's going to be people like, oh yeah, Conor's got a chance. I think Alex has a better chance than Conor did against Floyd, by the way. But you get my point, right? Like, the matchup is literally the nightmare matchup for Alex Pereira. Like Jon is as big, probably bigger. I think probably a little bit bigger than Alex Pereira. A heavyweight, certainly bigger. A million times better wrestler. Like, there's no possible way in hell that Alex, his wrestling is to Jon Jones's level at this point. Even if Jon Jones is out doing cocaine for the last year and then just shows up and fights, Jon comes back, he has to fight Tom Aspinall. There's no other good fight to make. And again, but then you kind of get into the debate of, is this a sport or is it entertainment, right? Entertainment wise, which I think we talked about a little bit about the White House card period. You know, is this going to be a, you know, make the biggest fights you can, or, you know, make relevant fights? And if you're making the biggest fight you can, you go with Alex Pereira, Jon Jones, 100%. Especially if you're Dana and you trust that Jon Jones is going to make it there on time, or, you know, not go to jail in the meantime or anything, right? And but that, I mean, I think it's a no-brainer in terms of like the biggest fight that you could potentially make. I still think he should fight Tom Aspinall, though. I don't know which is really a bigger fight. You know, I mean, you got to think like Alex. I know he's a bigger star, but you know, Jon Jones is big enough to carry, you know, whatever fight that he comes back to. And if it's Tom Aspinall, he's fighting for the heavyweight title now, and that makes it as big of a fight as if he's fighting Alex Pereira just to be fighting Alex Pereira, I think.
So this is all we have from today's video, and hopefully you enjoyed it. Share your thoughts in the comments section and subscribe to our channel to get more updates about this highly anticipated encounter.